Good morning, everyone. It's easy to get caught up in worry, stress, and uncertainty as we go through life, especially when we face challenges, tough decisions, or unexpected setbacks. We all know that life doesn't always go as planned, and sometimes doors that we hope to open don't seem to budge. In those moments, it's easy to start questioning ourselves, wondering if we'll ever find the right path. But today I want to remind you of a powerful truth. God will open the right door, so don't worry. When we face obstacles, we often feel like we have to do it all on our own, like we are in control of every outcome. But the truth is, there is a bigger plan in motion, one that we can't always see or understand. The doors that open for us might not always be the ones we expect, but they are always the ones we need. God knows the way, and His timing is perfect. I want to encourage you to trust that the right door will open when the time is right. You might not see it yet, but God's plan is unfolding, and He's guiding you even in the moments of uncertainty. So let go of the anxiety, trust His timing, and rest assured that the right opportunities are coming your way. God will open the right door, so don't worry. God's timing is perfect. God's plan for us is always unfolding at the perfect time. Sometimes it might not be the time we want, but God knows when we're ready for what's next. Trust that His timing is never late and it's never early, it's always exactly right. Our worry doesn't control the outcome. Worrying about the future doesn't change the outcome, but faith does. Instead of focusing on what could go wrong, focus on the fact that God is in control and that He is already working things out for your good. Closed doors are not denials, they are redirections. If a door closes in your life, don't see it as a rejection. It may simply be God redirecting you to a better path. Sometimes the right door isn't the one you wanted, but the one that leads you to greater growth, peace, and fulfillment. God knows what you need. You might feel like you're missing out or falling behind, but God knows exactly what you need and when you need it. His provision is always aligned with your purpose, and when He opens the right door, it will be the perfect fit. Faith over fear. In moments of doubt, choose faith over fear. Instead of worrying about what lies ahead, trust that God will guide you through. Fear may try to cloud your vision, but faith will open your eyes to the possibilities ahead. Keep moving forward in hope. Even if the door isn't open yet, keep moving forward in hope. Trust that God is opening doors behind the scenes. Every step you take in faith brings you closer to the opportunities He's preparing for you. Remember, you don't have to have everything figured out today. Trust that God is guiding you, and when the time is right, He will open the door that will lead you to where you need to be. So don't worry, God will open the right door. God's timing is perfect. One of the hardest things to do in life is wait. We live in a world that values instant gratification and quick results. But God's timing doesn't always align with our desire for immediacy. We often feel impatient when we're waiting for something important to happen, whether it's a job opportunity, a breakthrough in our personal life, or even a sense of direction for the future. In those moments of waiting, it can feel like things aren't moving, like we're stuck, and we might start to question why things aren't happening according to our timeline. But here's the truth. God's timing is always perfect. There is a reason why things don't always unfold as we expect. He sees the bigger picture. While we can only see a small portion of our lives, God sees the entire span of it, past, present, and future. He knows when we're truly ready for the next step and what needs to happen before we can walk through the doors. He's prepared for us. Waiting may feel uncomfortable, but it's during this time that God is working behind the scenes. He is preparing us, molding us, and aligning the circumstances in a way that will bring us the greatest blessing. The door that seems to be locked right now might not be the one we're meant to walk through. God is preparing something better, something that will make sense when we look back and realize how perfectly timed everything was. We may not understand the weight, but God's plan is not limited by the constraints of time in the way we experience it. Just because we want something to happen today doesn't mean it's the right time. Sometimes the right opportunity requires the right environment, the right people, and the right circumstances to align. God knows when those elements will come together, and when they do, the door will open, no sooner, no later. So in those moments of uncertainty, let go of your own timetable and trust that God is at work. Trust that His timing is always exactly what we need. It's not a matter of if the door will open, but when. And when it does, it will be a door you're truly ready to walk through. 2, our worry doesn't control the outcome. We all have moments when we feel overwhelmed by anxiety. We wonder if we'll ever reach our goals, if we're making the right choices, or if things will ever work out. Worrying about the future often feels like a natural response to the unknown. But it's important to remember that worry does not change the outcome. In fact, worry only adds weight to our hearts and clouds our ability to see clearly. The truth is, worry is not a tool that will help us. It doesn't push us forward or open doors that are closed. Instead, it holds us back, preventing us from stepping into the future with confidence and trust in God. Worry often stems from our desire to control every aspect of our lives. We want to make sure everything goes according to plan, and when it doesn't, fear creeps in. We try to predict every possible outcome, weighing each choice as though we can control the universe. But we can't. When we try to control every detail, we forget that God is in control. He knows what's ahead, and while we may not have the full picture, He does. Instead of worrying, we can rest in the fact that God has already gone before us. He is orchestrating the events of our lives, bringing together the right people, the right opportunities, and the right moments, all in His time. Worry only distracts us from the present moment. Instead of being focused on the uncertainty of what's to come, we can choose to focus on what we can control right now: our trust in God, our efforts in the present, and our faith that the future is already in His hands. In Matthew 6:34, Jesus tells us, "Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself." Each day has enough trouble of its own. The truth is, worrying about what may or may not happen tomorrow doesn't prepare us for today. It robs us of our peace and steals our joy. By choosing faith over fear and trust over anxiety, we free ourselves from the burden of constantly trying to control things. Instead, we acknowledge that there is a bigger plan at work. Even in moments of doubt, we can rest in the knowledge that God is working everything out, even when we don't understand how or when it will unfold. Worry can't open doors. Faith can. Trusting God can. So instead of worrying about the future or what's behind that closed door, choose to surrender that anxiety. Lean into faith, knowing that God is already preparing the way, and when the time comes, the right door will open. 3. Closed doors are not denials. They are red directions. When we encounter a closed door, our immediate reaction might be disappointment, frustration, or even a sense of defeat. We may feel like we've failed or that something has been taken from us, especially if we had invested so much time, energy, or hope into what we thought was a great opportunity. It's easy to interpret a closed door as a denial, like it's the end of the road, the rejection of our efforts, or the conclusion of our dreams. But in reality, a closed door is not a denial, it is a redirection. God, in His infinite wisdom, knows what lies ahead for us, things we might not even see yet. While we may have our sight set on one particular opportunity, God, in His love and grace, has something better planned. Sometimes He has to close a door to protect us from something that isn't aligned with His purpose for us. We may not realize it at the time, but a door that seems shut is often His way of guiding us away from something that would have led to heartache, disappointment, or misdirection. Think about it. We've all faced moments where we tried to force something to happen, convinced that we knew what was best for us. Perhaps we thought we had found the perfect job, the right relationship, or the ideal situation. We pushed forward only to encounter obstacle after obstacle, or we were met with rejection or failure. Instead of viewing these closed doors as obstacles or setbacks, we must shift our perspective and see them as God's redirect. What might feel like a roadblock is actually a divine intervention, steering us away from something that wasn't meant to be and guiding us toward what is. Sometimes the right door doesn't open because the one we are trying to walk through isn't the right fit for us, even though we might not understand why. Perhaps the timing is off, or perhaps there's something more that we need to learn before we can step into that opportunity. God's redirection is not punishment, it's protection. When one door closes, we can trust that God is preparing another door, one that leads to greater blessings, greater fulfillment, and greater alignment with His purpose for our lives. It's important to remember that just because a door is closed doesn't mean that God has forgotten you or that He's abandoned you. In fact, He's actively at work behind the scenes, guiding you towards something even greater. In the moment of disappointment, we have to remind ourselves that God's perspective is bigger than ours. He sees beyond the closed door, and He's already working to open the right one at the right time. All we need to do is trust His redirection and walk forward in faith, knowing that His plan is far better than anything we could have imagined. 4. God knows what you need. How often do we get caught up in worrying about what we think we need or what we think is best for us? We often look at the world around us and compare ourselves to others, feeling that we're missing out on something. We see someone else's success, their possessions, their relationships, or their happiness, and we wonder, why don't I have that? Don't I deserve it too? We begin to question God, wondering if He has forgotten about us or if we are somehow unworthy of the things we desire. However, the truth is that God knows what we need far better than we do. We might think we need a certain job, a specific relationship, or a particular outcome, but God sees the whole picture of our lives, past, present, and future. He understands our deepest desires, the things that will truly satisfy our hearts and what will ultimately lead us to peace, joy, and fulfillment. God's knowledge of our needs goes beyond the surface. He doesn't just know what we think we want, He knows what will bring us true happiness and growth, even if it's not what we expected. Many times we think that we're ready for something and we try to force it to happen. We might chase after a career opportunity, a promotion, or a relationship, only to find that it doesn't fulfill us the way we thought it would. Or perhaps it turns out to be a situation that brings more complications than joy. This is not a failure on God's part. It's an indication that what we thought we needed was not the best for us. God, in His wisdom, is protecting us from stepping into something that would not have been good for our future. Consider the example of the Israelites in the Bible. They wandered through the desert, constantly asking God for what they thought they needed: food, water, and comfort. But when God provided manna from heaven, they grumbled and longed for the foods they had in Egypt. They thought they needed those things, but God knew that their true need was to learn to trust Him, to depend on His provision, and to grow in faith. He was shaping them for something greater, a life of dependence on Him, and a future that would bring them into the promised land. In the same way, God knows the desires of our hearts, but He also knows what we truly need to grow into the person we were created to be. Sometimes we might not understand why things aren't going the way we expect, but we can trust that God's provision is always aligned with our best interests. What we think we need in the moment might not be what we truly need in the long run. His wisdom surpasses our understanding, and when we trust Him, we can rest assured that He will provide what we need at exactly the right time. When God opens the right door for us, it's not just about meeting our surface-level desires, it's about meeting our deeper, truer needs, the things that will bring us peace, purpose, and fulfillment. We may not always understand why certain things are delayed or denied, but we can be confident that God is orchestrating every detail of our lives, ensuring that when the right door opens, it will lead us exactly where we need to be. 5. Faith over fear. In our lives, fear often feels like a constant companion, lurking in the shadows and making us question our decisions. Fear is powerful. It can paralyze us, cloud our judgment, and prevent us from moving forward. It's natural to feel afraid when we face the unknown, whether it's stepping into a new phase of life, pursuing a new opportunity, or making a significant change. Fear might make us hesitate, hold back, or even retreat, convincing us that we are not ready or capable of moving forward. However, one of the most important lessons we can learn is that faith is stronger than fear. When we allow fear to dominate our hearts and minds, we lose sight of the truth that God is always with us, guiding us through every challenge and making a way where there seems to be no way. Fear is based on the unknown, on what might happen, on worst-case scenarios. Faith, on the other hand, is based on what we know for sure, that God is good, that He is faithful, and that He will never leave us nor forsake us. Faith is the antidote to fear. It's what gives us the courage to take steps forward, even when we don't have all the answers. It's what empowers us to trust in God's promises, even when the road ahead seems uncertain. When we choose faith over fear, we shift our focus from the dangers and obstacles that might lie ahead, and we turn our eyes toward the One who holds our future in His hands. Faith gives us the strength to move forward despite the doubts and insecurities we might feel. Choosing faith over fear doesn't mean that we won't feel fear. It's a human emotion and it's natural to experience it in challenging moments. But faith means we don't let that fear control us. Instead, we acknowledge it and push through it, knowing that God is by our side. In the Bible, we are reminded time and time again not to fear because God is with us. In Isaiah 41:10, God says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Faith allows us to take risks, godly risks. It enables us to step into the unknown with the assurance that even if things don't go as we expect, God's presence will be with us every step of the way. Instead of holding ourselves back due to fear of failure, faith compels us to press forward, trusting that God will guide us, protect us, and open the right doors at the right time. When fear creeps in, it's a sign that we need to anchor ourselves in God's promises and choose to trust Him instead. When we take that step of faith, we open ourselves to new possibilities, new opportunities, and new blessings that fear would have kept us from experiencing. Faith doesn't eliminate fear. It allows us to walk through it with confidence, knowing that God is greater than anything we face. Sixth, that keep moving forward in hope. One of the most challenging things to do when we're facing closed doors or periods of uncertainty is to keep moving forward. It's easy to feel discouraged when we don't see immediate results or when the path ahead is unclear. During these times, it's tempting to stop moving altogether, to give in to despair, or to wonder if anything will ever change. But the key to experiencing the doors God is preparing for us is to keep moving forward in hope. Hope is a powerful force. It gives us the strength to press on when everything around us seems bleak, and it helps us maintain a positive outlook even in the face of difficulty. Hope is the belief that things can and will improve, that God has a purpose for us, and that His promises are true even when we can't see them unfolding right now. It's not a passive feeling, but an active choice. We don't just wait for things to change. We continue to trust in God's plan and take the steps He calls us to, even when the road is tough. When we keep moving forward in hope, we demonstrate our trust in God's timing. Even if we don't understand the delays, the detours, or the setbacks, we keep moving forward with the belief that God is working behind the scenes. The right door might not be open yet, but that doesn't mean we stop walking. We don't have to know exactly how things will unfold, but we can move forward knowing that God is faithful and He is guiding our steps. In the Bible, we see many examples of people who kept moving forward in hope, even in the face of uncertainty. The Israelites, for instance, wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. They didn't know exactly when or how they would enter the promised land, but they kept moving forward in faith. Every step they took in the wilderness brought them closer to the land God had promised them, even though they couldn't see it at the time. In the same way, when we keep moving forward, even when it feels like nothing is changing, we are taking steps closer to the doors God is preparing for us. Sometimes keeping hope alive means trusting even when the future feels uncertain. It means believing that God is working behind the scenes, even if we can't see the full picture yet. It might not always feel easy and it might not happen on our timetable. But when we keep moving forward in hope, we are showing God that we trust His process. Hope gives us the strength to persevere and to continue moving forward, knowing that He will lead us to the right door at the right time. When you feel discouraged or uncertain, remind yourself of the promise that God is with you every step of the way. Keep moving forward in hope, trusting that the right doors will open and you will walk into the plans He has designed specifically for you. Your perseverance and hope are key to unlocking the opportunities God has in store for you.